Hey, Midnight Stag, Nacet, 176 uses on it so far. So today is 177. The Midnight Stag, as you have heard already this month, leather, gasoline, smoke, and wood. Pretty cool. Those are some of the dominant notes. Timeless, open comb. This is the knurled handle, timeless. 68 gap, open comb, stainless steel razor. This handle. I think it's nice. Fortunately, they put these grooves in it to give it some visual interest. I like that. But practically speaking, it's well balanced, to me at least. And most importantly, it's very grippy, even when wet and soapy. The balance point is about right here. Here's this bore. About to stick him in some water. Zenith, 26 millimeter, I believe, at the base. And B2 is the number code designation. Let's get it wet. All right, so threw a little water on my face. A little bit less than 24 hours shave. This is what I waited for and why I couldn't get started. That's soap really too, but 2 more days of delay because of the aftershave. And finally got a hold of it, a few days ago, and I've been using it. And used it last couple of days, had a good, nice amount on yesterday's shave. I could still, smell it on the application hand the next, several hours later, the next day. And I was shaving for that particular day late in the day. And so I'm now trying to bring my cycle back, shave a little bit earlier each day so that I can shave kind of at the beginning of each day. And that was because the time shift was because I was trying to get a hold of this. And I've just been really enjoying it. The aftershave doesn't seem to be as gasoline intensive as the soap is. And I can, the bourbony type of scent, the smoke, the wood, and the leather, and just a little bit of tweak of something gasoline-y, all combined. Just a rich scent, really nice. All right. Brush has been soaking for several minutes. Yesterday was Marco method. Marco is a wet method where you get your brush super wet, barely touch it to the soap as you're loading, and then start putting it on your face. But you do load for quite a while, longer than my usual kind of wet load when I do my bowl lathers. Yesterday I did 120 seconds, and I ended up with almost a little bit of a pasty feeling on my face. I had plenty of soap for all 3 passes, and I had some extra. I want to try to keep that pasty feeling away and dial it back a little bit. It was still very serviceable, very slick, and I got a nice shave, but I want to get it better. So how do we how do we change that? Water seems to be about right. For now, let's keep everything the same except for the soap, which means we would change the load time. So 120 seconds, let's just change it to 80 and see what happens. All right. Unmask the Stag. Yep. Now, as in previous examples, I am being very careful with the brush and not really moving it around very much. And here we go. I'm going to put it in here and we're going to wind it for 80 counts. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and there we go. It's still very wet in the tub. And who knows, maybe I inadvertently got more water in the brush this time. That's the kind of variables that you might have to deal with. I'm going to pour out the water that's in the soap here because I do want the soap to dry nicely. Another thing about Marco is that because we're keeping a lot of the water in here and not spending very much time between when it's filled up and when it goes on my face, it's a lot cooler than usual. When I bowl lather and work it and stir it, lather turns to room temperature, but not so with this guy. And then if you like that, that's great. I like it just fine. All right, definitely a little bit less soap than previously. So let's just see what happens. I'm starting by kind of light motions so that I don't immediately press the brush and cause the water to just leave. Looks like it's going to stay in the brush pretty well. And so now the soap is mostly on the tips. And so as we work, it's going to start to combine with the water in the rest of the part of the bristle. So this is synonymous with a bowl latherer's building of the lather in the lather bowl prior to the shave. Now already right here, it's looking maybe a little drier than I might like it. So I'm going to switch to a painting motion, see if I can kind of stir up the water that's on the other parts of the bristles, cause it to combine. Definitely a creamy lather here. It really, I'm kind of surprised, it really didn't look like tons of lather got absorbed into the tips, but sure did. All right. This does look a little too dry, kind of like yesterday's. I'm gonna add a little bit of water to the brush. There we go. Who knows, maybe 80 swirls is still too much, you know? Just keep playing with it. Definitely have plenty of soap in the brush. And I am going to create a little pocket by doing that. And then this part was just going to be wiped away down the drain. So let's take that, put it back in the brush. I don't know if this makes any difference. And so that's what we have left in the brush after the first pass. Now, let me show you that the blade in it is in fact my Nacet. Got the X down here, keeping it on the same side always for experimental purposes. Normally I just put the blade in and randomly, top, bottom, doesn't matter. It's all the same edge in my opinion. All right, let's get this guy a little wet. Trimming off a little length from my sideburns there. Do some of that over here too. tiny bit of tugging, but really just not really very much at all. None down here so far. A little bit right there. Under my chin is an area where I don't have to, it's a tougher skin area, and I don't have to quite worry about my technique as much. I can actually go against the grain right there and not really be bothered. All right. Yesterday had a great rinse after that first pass because soap was a little more intense than it should be. And so there was lots of soap, even though right now it feels dry. There was still a good bit of soap left on the skin that had dried out. So then you bless it with some water and floosh, it was noticeable. And then that's one of the reasons that caused me to say, I bet maybe I need to reduce the soap loading time because this is a lot of soap left on my face. Leaving a good bit of moisture on my face after the rinse to help this out, help the lather out. Nice scent. To me, it's mainly that gasoline type scent, but it's nuanced with some intelligent, nice stuff to where you don't feel like I'm just sitting around smelling gasoline. I mean, generally nobody likes to do that. So the leather gives it a little bit of warmth, and the wood and the smoke are in there too, just to put a nice twist on it. And I think that's why I'm just really able to enjoy it. And we'll see if I keep enjoying it after 31 days with it. And sure enough, this pass didn't need, I could have added more water if I wanted. It kind of needed a little bit more. But I just decided not to. And I can feel it now. It's feeling a little pasty. A little bit more drag on the razor than I am usually able to get with a slicker lather. But it's still very serviceable, you know. I bet there's people out there who, for whatever reason, like this level of hydration, not quite as much. But also, if those people start complaining about dry or itchy feeling after the shave, you know why. They need to give more water to their lather. And in a similar way, some people have issues with sensitivity due to soap. I wonder, with a little dilution, with a little bit more hydration in their lather, if those problems couldn't be helped. If they are actually using a lather that may be a little too dry, still works, still serviceable, still kind of feels creamy, but could use a little more hydration. I wonder if that could potentially help their irritation problems. Don't know. All right. So the 80 seconds is showing itself right now. At this point in yesterday's shave, I had a lot more lather in the brush available to me. Now the first, passes still had plenty of soap in them with that kind of pasty feeling I was telling you about. So I'm just adding some water to the brush, and we'll see if we can, I bet we'll be able to bring back plenty of lather to do the job, and a nice wet slick layer, because you don't need the big thick Santa's beard type appearance. A thin but slick layer is really the only requirement for a great shave. Yeah, see the lather's building up as I'm adding water. I think that might be all I need to add. Painting strokes now to smooth it out. There are soaps that are nicer, higher performing than this, and I can add more water to them and they will have a creamier but maybe thinner look to them and be more high performance. But this soap is a good one. It's just that there are others that are, you know, just better. This is a very good base nonetheless. Cross grain on my cheeks with a light touch. Kind of tilting my chin up to help with keeping the skin from having hills and valleys, you know, tighten it up just a little bit. I feel the nice glide that I brought on with the use of water. This is a slicker lather than the first two. Still really comfortable. The first pass was the only time I felt any type of tugging or anything like that. Yeah, this is just a nice lather. All right, I'm going to rinse, check out the problem area, see if I need to do that touch up. The little area, trouble spot area I've got there, there are some parts of it that are nicely cut flush. There's a couple areas where I can see some length on some tips, but since I'm running a little shorter than 24 hours on this, and by that I mean 6 hours shorter, I'm not going to try to chase that down. Getting good shaves in every day. Tomorrow's going to be even less than 24 hours. And so I don't want to bring up any irritation. It's a nice cut. I'm happy with it. So I'm just going to leave it as is. So there we go. Face feels great. The third pass did not have the same slickness, the same creamy rinses as I did my rinse as the first two. But it had a slicker feel during the shave, and I believe the performance was better. For instance, since I told you just now, the closeness here, this is better than what I got yesterday or the day before when I had thicker lathers, when I had more soap, higher concentration of soap. And so that just proves, kind of helps, probably helps to give a little bit of credence to the point of the slick lather, the well-hydrated lather being a more high performance one in some cases. Probably might depend on the soap formulation, you know, as well. I don't know everything. Shave looks good, happy with it. No weepers at all. There's like one little area where there's just a minor, nothing to complain about at all. A bit of, you know, tenderness, but it's nothing. Everywhere else it just feels fine. So before my face dries out, before the water on my face dries up, my little girl comes up and gives me a smooch on a pretty regular basis. So let's see. Blessed man I am, I tell you that. So I'm going to see. Sometimes she comments about, Dad, when was the last time you shaved? I'm like, well, it was just last night, baby girl. And, you know, she just feels that 5 o'clock shadow, you know. So we'll see if she notices anything tonight. Yeah. So, again, with a high concentrate, with a pretty good serving that I put on today, I definitely get that kind of, I get a burning feeling. Some other people may only get a cooling feeling. But this burning will last a few minutes, and then it'll switch to cooling only. That'll last quite a while. Now it is summer here, so in a way that's appreciated. All right, but oh yeah, just that bourbon smell is there. Yeah. And I have tested other soaps with bourbon in them, but to me, even though this probably doesn't say bourbon note, the combination of notes used here, to me represent a little bit more accurate of a bourbon than a lot of those other ones do. All right, feeling good. Almost ready. It's almost switching to cooling, so it doesn't take too long with the kind of the burning feeling. Not really too much stinging. This is an alcohol splash. I'll mention again that it does have cool stuff for after the shave, not just scent and alcohol, like witch hazel, aloe, calendula, and vitamin B5. Sodium lactate as well, but I don't know if that's a skin food thing or just something necessary for the mix, you know. So there we go. The Nacet took care of business and did it with a quality and a closeness that was even better than yesterday's shave, probably due to the slicker lather. So I just did a rinse. I'm going to do another one after I loosen up the head like that. Then give it a good shake, and I do it safely by holding it like that while I shake it. That way the blade can't become untwisted. And I just put it up there, and that's I don't do any post-treatment to my blade. So that is 177 uses. Yeah, 177 uses now. How about that? And it does not show a sign of stopping. It really doesn't. All right, how much lather is left on the brush? Looks like I probably get almost a pass out of that, maybe. This part came from the center of the brush. That is where I was adding water to help the lather that was on my face to become a little bit more hydrated. But that's all. That's all the soap that was in there. And so in terms of economy of soap, the 80 with this brush and this particular soap base, that 80 count, that's pretty reasonable. I might not want to go more than that, lower than that, because the first pass I might want to go lower than that. But if I did, that would affect the last pass. So maybe 70, but 80. I mean, it's probably a good place for this brush, you know, and this combo. They make a scrubbier version of this brush that has shorter bristles, so it's going to hold less water if it's the same diameter, and so then that's going to change things for you if you have one of those. So the brush can definitely affect the formula because it can only hold X amount of water, and each brush a little bit different. So it looks like with this method, if I want to have, at least with this soap base, I might need to add a little bit of water to a couple of the passes to change the lather from being just a little bit too dry and pasty to something more creamy. And then there will still be enough soap left over at the third pass to take care of business. And yeah, that's a good amount of soap. Actually, 80 count. This is the right number for me for this brush because I did not do a touch-up pass, and that little extra that was on the brush would have been fine for that. So there we go. All right, question answered. How much water did I add at the end? 1 teaspoon onto the brush to reinvigorate and make slick that third pass. This around here of the brush, I believe, is there for a practical use as well. Tuck this guy into your palm and reach up with your fingers, and it can help you with the face lathering. I usually stick to this kind of a grip when, because see, you have a quicker, because your fingers can actually do some of the movement, whereas with this, your kind of wrist does more of the movement. So I feel like it's quicker for me if I do that, but try it that way. And many razors have something up here for you to reach forward and grab, try that. See if you like it. So here's how this guy looks after the stropping. Not too much of a change from yesterday. Just tracking the changes. So this is a very resident scent. That aftershave, there are a lot of aftershaves that last half an hour, 45 minutes, maybe an hour, and that's all you're going to get out of them. But this one, it's got some staying power, and I will smell it several hours after the shave still, which is pretty cool. Little side note, I got some Ramblin' Man in the other day. I was really intrigued by the notes that were in it. It said high citrus in the top notes, and then some sandalwood, maybe some vetiver and ambergris, and something else, kind of as the musk as the middle and bottom notes. And when I put a little bit of the splash on today, all I got for a few hours was that high citrus scent. Very much like Baker Street. And so in a sense it was a little disappointing because the high citrus wasn't what I was looking forward to. I like a good citrus part of the note, but I was looking forward to how those other scents that I mentioned might come in and change it and give it some nuance and stuff, but it didn't really happen. Now I'm going to try the soap out. I got the soap as well. Got a good deal. And then we'll try it out. But my first impression of the Ramblin' Man was that it was really kind of, at least with the aftershave splash, was really more like a dupe of Baker Street, which I don't care for a lot. It's okay. But Baker Street definitely has its fans, but why have two that smell the same, you know? So that one maybe didn't work out for me like I was hoping it would. Later on, a few hours later, I did start to smell the wood as the citrus subsided, but it was just too weak to really enjoy and be part of the main experience. So a little side note on Ramblin' Man there. So I told you how much water I used, and we're in good shape. Yeah, it was a great shave. Happy with it. So this Nacet is behaving nicer in this timeless open comb than it did with the Sheraton open comb, which was my go-to razor for it for quite some time. It was starting to fade a little bit. I guess it's just about geometry, you know, and these two razors just had, unlike a lot of other razors, had a geometry that really did match my face. All right, well, there we go. Are there any improvements that I can make to this formulation? I mentioned that I thought the soap, the number of swirls was about right because of I had enough room to do a touch-up. I thought that was about right. With this brush, at least, I don't really see how I can get more water in the brush. Can't really change that. Just got to be prepared to add, you know, some water. So in terms of soap and water, and I don't think there's too much to change. So pretty good. This might be my, for this soap base, for this brush, my optimal Marco method setup. So that's pretty cool. So what I may try tomorrow, same procedure, same swirls, but I'll use a bowl and mix it up beforehand, see what the difference is. Changing one thing each day will help me to see changes better instead of changing a bunch of things. All right, well, there we go. We're going to keep playing around with all the ingredients and procedures and see what happens. So this is Sugar Daddy Shaves. I hope there's something here for you. If you're learning about Marco, it's pretty cool. It's always good to do different things. You never know how things will work out. You may latch on to one particular method for a while because maybe you don't have room on your bathroom with a bowl, and so a face lathering method is your favorite. And years later, your wife may give you a bowl not knowing that you're a face lather, and then you want to use it for a while, so you need to whip up a bowl lather. So, you know, either way, it's all good. You take care. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves. Bye.